Hi everyone, I'm Tom and today I'm going to be showing you Crazy Taco, which is a game all about serving customers in a taco restaurant. We're trying not to tank the reputation of our uncle's restaurant. We're trying to keep our reviews, well, at least having some stars in them whilst serving the customers, surviving inspections and hopefully making some money. This is on Kickstarter right now. I'll put a link in the description and the corner of the screen to the campaign page where you can see all of the final stuff. This is a prototype, but it should give you a good idea of what the final game will look like. And as always, I'll mention that I was paid to make this overview video. Oh, and also, this is a lovely neoprene playmat that I've just knocked everything off of. The game does come with a normal board in it, and I imagine that the playmat is going to be an add-on, but the campaign page will tell you all about that. Now, this is a solo dice placement game where we are trying to serve the customers and get our chores done and everything as quickly as we can without, completely shutting the restaurant down. Now, the first phase of a round is the orders phase, where new customers are going to come in and place orders. We do have these two customers that are special starter customers. They might come in either order, but they are going to be the ones you'd have in the first round. And so you can see that there is a lady who would like a taco and a gent who would like a taco and a drink. The next part is rolling the dice, so we take them all and roll and see which workers we have available here. So we have some workers on the food stations, some workers on the drink stations. Now we can roll the sleeping Zeds there. Now this would mean that we had some workers on break and they go in this section here. There can only ever be one die in each space, so if you did get two workers on a break at once, they would go down here, and every round they will slide down until they come back out ready to work again. So what were they? I think they were a drink and a $sign. So this is what I'd have to work with right now, and at the start of the game you don't have to do too much. So I can place dice to fulfill orders. So right now I could fulfill both of the orders actually, because I have a taco there and I have some food and drink right there. So I could take action to serve both of these customers. Now, if you're serving a customer, you're doing this side of the card, and so you point this side up to show that this side still needs to be done. So I would have spent those two workers and the order is served right there. The other stage of serving a customer is, taking their money, and this is one of the uses for the money symbol on the dice. So I could spend this cashier worker to take the customer's money, and in this case, you would rotate the card this way around to show that you still need to serve the customer their food, but you've taken their order at the counter. Only when you've done both of these things, so I could now do the cashier on this customer, and he would clear off out of the restaurant and give me my $2. You only get the money once you've done both stages of the ordering. You can do a serve and collect action, which is basically just do them both at once if you have the dice available to do it. As we go through the game, we are going to get more customers in here, and some might have special requirements on the computer screen here. So this is just a normal order. This customer here has the plus open. That means you would draw another customer that turn, so you would get an extra one out. And this customer has a chore symbol. So for him, we would draw a chore from the top of the deck here, and it goes in the warehouse space. We need to spend a blank face on a die to fulfill this. And if we don't, by the time another order needs to be filled, we are going to be punished by losing a star on the track here, because, the new one would take its place. And this particular one is sending a delivery person out for an order, so you will earn some money from that. There are also other chores that will take multiple turns. So a die would go on here one turn, and then at the end of the round it would slide down, and that die would be locked up again, still doing the chore, taking out the rubbish. Now, there can also be extra cards, bonus cards that can come out that are hidden in the customer deck. This one here is clean the locality, so this is going to require a cashier to be on there for 2 turns. But once you have placed the cashier on there, it will go into the bonus section and not take up a space in line. There is a free time card that occupies space in the queue, but you don't have to do anything for it, and when it reaches position 1, it will just leave. There is a meal voucher card. Now, this is acquired with a blank face, and it will go down to your bonus section. You can use this in the future to just remove a customer after you have served their food. You won't get any money for them, but it's a way of clearing your queue out. And finally, there is the break room key card that will come out of here again with a cashier die. But once you have put that cashier die in there, So anytime you would roll the Zs on your die, you still don't get to use them for this turn. You could use them for a future die roll if you're re-rolling things, but for the next 3 turns, you won't have to place anyone into the break room. So it's so important to keep spaces in here and maybe get rid of customers and not get money for them, because if the queue is full and a new customer needs to come out, you would slide everything to the right. Now, the person in position 1 has kind of 3 stages of emotion. They're perfectly happy, they're a bit irritated, they're pretty irate, and then they're going to leave. And if they leave, they are going to leave a bad review and your stars are going to go down. And the aim of the game is to not reach the bottom. You, of course, want to beat your score and do as well as possible, but we will lose if we just tank our ratings down to 1 star. So as well as spending the dice for all of these things, we do have a menu. I don't have a print version, but here is the picture. Now, the menu lets you redeem your dice for different options. For instance, swapping 3 food dice to a cashier, or swapping a cashier to get somebody out of the break room, or spending your money, to get new stars, to re-roll your dice, or to rack up these extra hours, which you can use to get workers back from the break room. There are also inspection cards that are an optional extra that you can include. You would select one and shuffle it into the customer deck, and when it comes out, you will be charged a fee based on certain things. For example, this one would be pay $3 for every worker that is currently in the break room. Now, if you can't pay because you don't have enough money, you put it below the purple magnifying glass down here, and keep a worker die on this space until you have paid that inspection fee. And on the turn when an inspection card comes out, you draw another customer, so you don't have a breather from that. You keep going until the customer deck is empty, and if there are still stars on your review score, then you win. Now, as well as the standard solo version, there is a 2-player version of the game where 1 player will play as the manager and essentially does the same duties as the solo player. Everything except the orders phase, which is handled by the customer player. They have a hand of 4 cards at the start. They have the 2, beginning customers, but from the future they will be drawing from the customer deck, and they will choose which customer goes to the manager player. There is a restriction if they play a special customer, so one that's got, say, an open, making you draw another one, or a customer that makes you draw a chore. If they play one of those, they can't play another one in the very next turn. They've got to give the manager player a bit of a break. And if they really don't like their hand of customers, they can choose to discard it, and it will go to the bottom of the deck, and they can draw back up, but that takes their whole turn. And it goes back to the bottom of the deck because the manager player still has to go through the entire deck to win. Now, if you just came here for the cold, hard facts and you don't want to know what I think, then thank you very much for watching. Remember, the campaign page is there for you to check out all the other stuff, and hopefully I've piqued your interest about Crazy Taco. If you would like to know what I think, though, stick around. Well, not for long, because here it is. So I am definitely drawn to restaurant themes. I think it does really evoke this kind of chaos, say, in Kitchen Rush. It works perfectly there. And certainly the look really evokes a video game called Cook Serve Delicious that I have played a ton of, and so that's aesthetically a plus. But in terms of gameplay, I think this is a really solid solo game, a really great dice placement game as well, because you have the different requirements of the customers, but you are always looking for the cashiers to take their order. It's nice and thematic in that the dice are the workers that are in their particular roles that day at the shop. You've always been nicely restricted by the workers going on breaks, sometimes for a long time, but there are ways of getting them out by offering them more money, for example, or using your extra hours up. There's often, customers are bringing out more customers or chores, but you do get a bit of a reprieve from that when you get certain bonuses, because the free time can be a good and a bad thing. It's filling up your queue. But at the same time, once that gets to number 1, you've got a bit of a break because nothing happens there. And there's plenty of things kind of pushing these customers along, keeping that queue full, keeping the pressure on you as you potentially lose a load of stars. It's definitely been a fun challenge, just trying to keep my head above water, never mind trying to, go for the great review scores. Now, I can only really speak for the solo mode, which is the main way of playing it. Because as nice as having the option for the 2-player game there is, you are working against each other, and the customer player is trying to make things harder for the manager. And we're pretty peaceful players and don't really play games where we're trying to mess each other up. I imagine, though, for the vast majority, well, I know that that's a pretty a small subset of board gamers, and the vast majority are going to find that a positive more than anything. But for the core gameplay, yeah, you are always under pressure. You feel kind of restricted by just... You see how quickly your staff kind of desert you as they're all going on breaks or working on these chores for multiple turns, or being whisked away because you couldn't afford the inspection fee when it came out. I hope, though, that the overview gave you a good idea of what Crazy Taco is about and whether or not you would be interested in checking it out. And if you do, remember the campaign page is there. If you'd like to know about more games, there are nearly 400 playthroughs on this channel now. And if you would like to help me keep making these videos, it's patreon.com/slickerdrips. And your support would be greatly appreciated. Thank you very much for watching this video, though, and I'll see you for the next game. Bye, everyone.